there's a time I knew the next time road that I worked in, there's 1 mile now. My cousin catch rattlesnakes. But I just, I never really
I mean, pretty fun. 2 days later, there he is. Right
Lord used to kill anything. When I was 20 to 30, I love hunting. And I mean, I still buy hunting license. I love to fish. I've got 2 boats. I love to fish. But I always throw them back.
So the quest for the dozer ended with purchasing a wonderful D3G XL. But I have decided to do a bit of work on her before I start to work with her. And that's what this video is all about. So phase 1 is grind all the old stickers off, beat and pry and twist all of the panels so they fit again as well as they can without it taking forever. Make all the doors fit and work. The rear end was caved in, the bottom panel was caved in, and the corners were, I don't know, maybe 1.5 inches out of alignment. So with some oxyacetylene, some heat and some hammers, big ones, small ones, pry bars, it all fits again now. The doors all open, the locks all work. So phase 2 is power wash time. 1 hour of power washing later, and I love it more than I did before. Absolutely beautiful, I can't fault it. No substantial wear on anything. Everything works, nothing's busted. Nice to get all the grit and filth off and see that all the hoses are in great shape. I'm gonna take the engine panels off, power wash the engine compartment. I think I may have to give the seat another blast. Of course, as you blast one direction, all the filth goes in the other. So you end up chasing your tail just a little bit. But she's in great shape. 2006. Real happy with everything that is undercover as well as visible. Not found anything that I don't like yet. Found some Zerk fittings that I wasn't sure would be there. But this is great. All clean. Ready to dry out. Some degreaser, paint, and those are the Zerk fittings I was referring to. Of course there should be some down there, but I kind of wasn't looking for them. Completely covered in 6 inches of muck, but I'm sure there are others too. I'll have to take a look at every pivot that I'm not familiar with. There'll be a fitting. But she's good, she's clean, all the edges are sharp. Can't fault her. So engine covers off next and power wash, and then let it dry, degrease, prime and paint, and then decals. Engine bay is just as clean as the rest of the machine. All the hoses and cables are all tied with the original zip ties. No monkey business. Tell you what, I'm impressed. So this is a 2006, and equipment of this type, you know, that old. 17 years, I mean, yeah, 20 years old is a long time. But it's in great shape. Don't see any evidence of anything being fixed. Everything looks original and nice and clean. So on with the next phase. Clean it up, prime it, paint it. Well, the next phase is complete. Having to decide what to paint and what not to paint. So I've decided not to paint any of the structure inside the cab because it's all in great shape. And I decided at first to not paint the superstructure above the base of the cab level, but changed my mind and glad that I did. 2 rolls of masking tape and 1 roll of paper later. And it's all the hoses are taped off right up to where, oh, I've just seen a bit I didn't do. Right up to where I don't care if the paint goes. And yeah, I'm going to paint the blade, but it'll all rub off in no time, I'm sure. I can take off that piece of paper because I've now decided to do the brush bars as well. So all done, all papered up, hole to get in, of course. I do have to reverse it out in order to paint it. And that's going to be fun because I have to reverse and turn and reverse some more. So that might be the most entertaining part of the video. But she's ready for paint. I have to degrease, wipe it off, prepare the plastic outside, hose it down, get the dust gone, wipe the machine again, and then paint. Then let that cure, then paint again, then let that cure, then paint again. But it'll look good. She'll look shiny new when it's finished. So today, with it being a non-breezy day and nice and dry and warm, it's obviously paint day. First thing was to power wash it again this morning. Wipe it all over with degreaser. That took hours. And then now it's to do the rust treatment. So this is pour 15. And I think I've got all of the rust. And if I haven't, it doesn't matter. The primer is a yellow primer. And hopefully I can get the black covered before then, of course, the top coat. But it's all good. I'm happy with it so far. Didn't want to cover all the bare metal because that's what the primer's for. I just wanted to cover the rust. And that is covered. It doesn't have to be perfect. A week or 2 of using it and it'll all be dinged up and dirty again and look even better. So I've got to give it, it says 45 minutes, but I'm going to give it a couple of hours to dry and then get back out and get on with the primer. it's funny how plans will change. And that is that a quick coat of paint I thought would be good. And of course, when I do a quick coat of paint, I look at it and think, nah, I gotta fix a few things. I'm not gonna fix everything, but I've started to sand. I've already sanded, I mean, the rough spots. I just have to prime again, let it dry again, mask it off again, get rid of the dust again, you know, and it's kind of endless. I have to hose down this area, get it wet, because if I don't, then the dust will all kick up in the top coat, which I don't want. So I got to get the hose, I got to spray down the area, I got to park the machine back on the wet spot, I've got to mask off, I've got to de-dust it, I've got to prime it, I got to leave that for a couple of hours, and then I can do the top coat. So don't underestimate, note to self, how long anything that you decide to do will actually take. So this is day 3. No, it's not all day each day, but it's quite a few hours yesterday, and then probably 2 hours on 4 other days. So I'd say this is approaching 16 hours to get it to this point, and it'll be at least another 3 hours today, but we'll see. Try as I might with the local auto paint store, great guy, tried his hardest, but there's no way he can match cat yellow. In his catalog, he has a cat yellow, and after comparing it to the inside of the tool compartments, it was wrong. So I had to go to Cat, an 1.5 hour drive each way to go fetch a gallon of cat paint. And yes, it's like night and day difference, but I've used the wrong yellow as a good base coat, and then I'll finish with the cat color. But there are a few voids and a few vacation spots, as my friend calls them. But that's good as a base coat. I'm quite happy with it. So I'm just going to take a break for a minute because the sun is just ridiculously hot. And I'm going to get back on with the cat color. For anyone that hasn't done this before, the reason the machine's up in the air is that you've got to do it up in the air and then blade up in the air, else you can't expose all of the paintwork on the sides of the machine sufficient to get a good coverage. Biggest problem is the roof. Even with a little giant, it steps you away from the machine so far that it's tough to reach over, but no one sees the roof, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm happy with it. I mean, one more coat of this, if this was the right color, I think I'd be very happy. There's a few dings, and when you get close to the paint, you can see all of the scratches from the various trees. But 2 hours from now is my prediction I'll be done. Stick you back on time lapse and get on with the final coat. Having recently been price gouged by Cat on a number of different things, when my buddy told me, don't get Cat original paint, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, I believed him and then tried to color match and couldn't. So I begrudgingly went to Cat, and guess what? A gallon of their proper paint, 59 bucks. Half the price of the aftermarket gallon that I'd been struggling with for days. Lesson learnt. I don't know what the lesson is. Don't listen to your buddy. Or at least don't listen to my buddy. But check. So that is the original proper Cat paint, and it looks like night and day compared to the garbage I was putting on there. Just a subtle difference in yellow makes all the difference. So give it 48 hours to dry, take all the masking off, put the stickers on, and the job is done. But I am so happy. And painting the blade is a silly waste of paint, but how can you not paint the blade? So she looks beautiful. The trouble is you can't peel the stuff off too soon because all the flaky pieces of paint get stuck on the paint that you prefer is not covered with chunks of paint from elsewhere. You saw I was rolling it forwards, rolling it backwards, painting the wheels. I do not think I've missed a piece, but if I have, I've got 3 rattle cans and I'll touch up little places after I'm done. So I'm putting it back in the barn, tidying up, and that is it for this phase. Our stickers came in, so took all the masking off, put the stickers on. She is now done. Brunhilde, I think, is the appropriate name for her. She's a powerful girl. Decided not to paint inside the cab because I want it to feel original, which it does, and it's in great shape. But everything else is done. All the stickers, all the hoses. Took a long time to mask off so that the end result was like this. But to me, the masking is as important as the paint job. It's a shame to take it out in the dirt. But she's beautiful. Anyway, end of the job. So that took 2 long days. This time of year at this temperature, a long day is 8 hours, right? So, and 2 short days. So I'd say 30 hours in total, to be honest, including the power washing and, ordering of bits and pieces. So I'm going to get some smoked tempered glass for the sides and for the back. I'm going to put steel cages over the tempered glass so that in the wintertime the heat will blow at me and stay sort of warm-ish, and in the summertime it'll keep the sun from burning me alive. I might even mount an AC unit one day on the roof. That'd be cool. But then I got to make doors. I got to make a front window. Gets a little silly then at that point. But this machine is now worth, not that this is about worth because we're going to keep it, but this machine is now worth twice as much as I paid. I could imagine that if I were to list it, I would list it at 55. I paid 35, so twice as much is a bit of an exaggeration. I would get north of 50 for sure. I've seen them listed at 70. This has done 3,100 hours, so it's a low hours, very good condition machine. But she's ours, and now it's time to get her a little dirty.